Hi, this is Jason T. Ingram. I'm doing another video log entry about doing this business stuff. And there goes my cat. She's mad tonight because I've been horrible to live with. Absolutely horrible. And I'm glad she's not a person. And I really am trying I'm really not trying to make my life sound more sensational than it is, but my experience of things is sometimes really intense when I'm under pressure and when I get really focused on a project and really can't describe what it's like unless you have a brain like mine, and I hope you don't. Uh, it's just been a roller coaster, and yeah, it's there are times when I really do need to be alone, and I don't blame people for not wanting to be around me during times of crisis, because it is I'm very unstable and very irritable, and sometimes I could just be outright scary. I mean, sometimes, like, I don't even try to put on my happy face. I just, like, I walked to a meeting this morning and just, like, and somebody would talk, and if I didn't like what they were saying, I'd just walk off. And I usually don't do that, but I have to be, like, really fucking down to do that, or just, like, really, really going through some really intense, crazy shit. But it's just that everything in this last month has just been like, I mean, I was doing some other videos earlier this last couple weeks, and they were really, really depressing. I might edit them later, but they were just really depressing watching them. But I really wanted to capture me at my lowest moments and be like, wow, that's really hard to be around. And yet I'm still going, and just the hope that, I'll be able to get better products out there and get better exposure, and kind of knowing now where to go and how to take the next steps, and some ideas about that based on the limitations that I have, and understanding those limitations and being okay with them, and finding that other people are not okay with them, and how weird that is, and the irony of asking for help and being a little more direct with people in my life too, because I want to ask them to not give me advice, but to be willing to spend some time with me to do some things that are just too stressful for me right now, that would contribute to the downfall of my mental health. And I did not expect to make a video log of me consecutively losing my mind. That was not my plan. And yet, it's really been a weird fucking project. And I'm glad. I'm glad, because a lot of the problems that I've had trying to get, like, back into doing music related stuff full time as a career is that I'm not only way more messed up than I was in my 20s, just because of some things that have happened in my life, most of it being conversion therapy, which straight camp and anti-gay religious work for 5 years, and a year with this incredibly abusive organization that has big lawyers, and they dodge the media. And I'd love to get my story out there, because I've been to Tennessee, California, Alaska, Washington, up the, and just sharing my story and how stressful it is. And it got to the point I can't even fly hardly anymore. I would love to be able to get to that point when I can go to airports again. Once I'm up in the air, it's great. In fact, that's probably, I liked flying in Alaska, because the airport was not busy very much. Sometimes in the summer it was. And a lot of times I would get on a tiny airplane that I wouldn't even have to go through the airport, really. One time, this was like right after 9/11, and they didn't even like go through my bags or anything like that. I just like go to the airport and take a left to where all the little planes are, and then suddenly I'm on a plane and I'm flying to Bethel or I forget where it was. I did some teaching work out there, and it was wonderful. I really miss Alaska. I really miss the people. I really miss working cross culturally. I really miss being around people that are okay with expressing their feelings and okay with others who express their feelings, and they don't feel threatened by that. A lot of rural Americans are a lot more upfront, and they're okay with a lot of that, and I really do miss country folk, and I've learned a lot about having to manage my mental illness the best I can and know my limitations of how far I can go. So my tea for tonight, and we do not have this in Russia. This is called Tension Tamer. It's by Celestial Seasonings, and I think I'm just gonna just pour boiling water in this whole thing and just drink it. But in Russia, our Tension Tamer tea is vodka. This stuff tastes weird. I don't know what's in it. I swear it's like something that you find in the backyard. So, having to cope with this stuff is harder and harder the more I put myself in these stressful situations. And at the same time, I'm stuck with this dilemma. Do I just keep doing these soul-sucking music jobs that aren't going anywhere for me? And I enjoy being around people. I enjoy getting out of the house. Spending this much time alone in my house is really fucking with my head. And I'm trying to, this time, kind of enjoy my crazy and see if I can enjoy losing my mind. I did that when I was a teenager, and I think kind of, I don't know, it's sort of like the first time usually people lose their mind as a teenager, and it's like, oh my god, it's horrible, but then again, it's not quite as scary. There's not quite as much at stake. And another thing about spending too much time alone, if you've ever done this before, oh my god, you end up getting incredibly self-focused and this huge self-importance sometimes too. And so sometimes if I let my crazy go and see where it goes, it's easy to end up with a messiah complex and a persecution complex and a paranoia complex too, and it's weird. Like the first time that I ever really got hooked on something, I was hooked on Xanex, and I remember this thought came to me: oh my god, this stuff is so good. When I run out, if my doctor doesn't, then where am I going to? And I was like, oh my god, where did that thought come from? And so I'm starting to have some of those thoughts with different things in my life, like, oh shit, am I starting to think about that now? And then I start thinking about, if I keep entertaining all that stuff in my head, like paranoia and things like that, then I'm going to start talking like the average Portland downtown homeless guy that keeps talking about the system and the power and, like, oh, great. And I wonder why it's hard to get people to listen to me. And that's one of the tough things, too, is because I overreact to just about anything. And it doesn't delegitimize the thing that I'm reacting to. It just it attracts all my attention to my overreaction and not to the issue. And so that's another reason why I get ignored. A lot. And I don't blame people for that, too, because it's really hard to communicate with somebody who is not being listened to and that has some really legitimate needs and has been very disappointed with the advice, and the things that I've been sent to aren't working. They're just not working, and I'm eventually going to be heard, but it's hard because the more I talk, the more I lose credibility, and it seems like over the year it's like, oh my god, I am like losing credibility the older I get, and it's hard. But I'm just trying to stay hopeful, and so far so good. I was able to actually finally upload these videos, and that's a whole nother story. It was really, really a frustrating weekend.